Hi, welcome to the Regional Cultural Fund Round 2 video for projects with a total cost above $250,000. My name's Sally, and with me to do the presentation is Tracy. We both work in the Regional Cultural Fund office. We're based in Sydney, and there's 4 of us all together administering the Regional Cultural Fund. This video will talk through the business case process for the Regional Cultural Fund for applications with a total estimated project cost of above $250,000. Before viewing this video, we recommend watching our general information video, which is also on our website. However, in this session we'll walk you through the business case template and familiarise you with the key concepts necessary to complete an application for the Regional Cultural Fund, or RCF, for a project with an estimated total cost above $250,000. We also recommend you watch the instructional video from the Regional Growth Fund, which is on our website, on how to complete a business case. Our session today will try and fill any gaps that the Regional Growth Fund video has and put things into a cultural context. There are 4 sections in the business case template: the executive summary, case for change, analysis of the proposal, and implementation, which includes the budget. We are also going to go over the budget, which is in the Smarty Grants form itself. This in-application budget is where the assessors look. Have you got these 3 items on hand? We'll be referring to 4 documents today. If you don't have these on hand, we recommend pausing this video to organise these documents. We will be referencing 4 things, however: the business case template, the business case guidelines, the Regional Cultural Fund guidelines, and we'll also look at the budget found in the Smarty Grants application form on pages 7 and 8 in Smarty Grants. If you haven't registered for Smarty Grants yet, we recommend hitting pause now and taking a look at the form, particularly the budget section. Links to the form are available on the Regional Cultural Fund website, as are the documents on screen now. If you have a prepared business case, you'll be required to migrate your information into the template provided. This is to ensure that the assessors are able to easily navigate your applications. You can attach your already prepared business case as extra support material if you wish. In addition to this instructional video and the business case guidelines, there are handy tips in blue boxes throughout the business case template. You should read these before filling out each section and make sure that you delete them all before submitting your application. Business case template overview. To assist you in matching the Cultural Fund criteria to the business case template, we've aligned the 2 together now on screen. This video will take you through each of the sections and reference the assessment criteria to allow you to gain a greater understanding on what the assessors are looking for. Before we get into detail, we want to draw your attention to this document, which is also on our website: the Regional Cultural Fund Assessment Guidance for Round 2 applicants. Make sure you download this guide, which is now on screen, from our website. This will give you guidance on what the assessors are marking your applications on. I'll hand over to Tracy now.
Hello, it's Tracy here. So I'm going to briefly take you through what the business case is about. The purpose of the business case is to provide you with a structure to outline your proposed project and demonstrate how it delivers the outcomes aligned with the Regional Cultural Fund, or RCF, objectives in a way that represents value for money. Your business case should prove the investment in the project is warranted and demonstrate your capacity to deliver the project. So there are 4 key steps in preparing to construct your business plan. Information gathering, preparing the case for change, analysing the proposal, and preparing for implementation. Some guiding principles for information provided in the business case should be succinct, it should be evidence-based, and it should showcase your ideas. Now, there is a completed example of a business case available on our website. It has a project of an estimated cost of around $300,000. This is the baseline level detail required in your applications. So, Section 1, Executive Summary. For those not familiar, your executive summary is a short version of what's in your business case and should capture all the key points. Keep it succinct, sharp, and factual. This is your 30-second elevator pitch. Now, the executive summary will be the first thing anyone reads, which makes it important as it will set the tone for your whole business case. And we suggest that you write your executive summary after you've completed the rest of your business case. So section 2 is all about case for change. So 2.1 is the background. The first part of establishing the case for change is putting your project in context. Provide a snapshot of your town, providing key details and statistics about your town and organisation. Always avoid assumptions that the reader has any prior knowledge and only provide relevant information. This is not the place to write an essay. Keep the information sharp and succinct. 2.2 is rationale for investment. The rationale for investment should demonstrate a clear need for your project. The community's need for change and opportunities for the creation of benefits should be identified to explain why your project should receive investment. Remember that you need to be competitive against other projects, so supporting evidence and solid reasoning in this section will establish your case for change. Once the need is established, describe how your project will meet the need or gap that currently exists in the community. 2.3 is strategic alignment. In this section of the template, you will need to show how addressing the identified issues will assist with meeting the RTF objectives and other state government or local government priorities, plans or strategies. So we've got some of these examples up on the screen. These could include the Premier's state priorities, New South Wales government agency strategies and plans, state infrastructure strategy, regional plans prepared by the New South Wales Department of Planning and Environment. It could be regional economic development strategies or irrelevant local government community strategic plan or other strategies by local government, as well as asset management plans. We suggest laying this out on a table or using dot points to make it clear. In section 2.4, expected outcomes, you need to outline the outcomes expected as a result of your project and who the beneficiaries are. Outcomes should be described in quantitative terms where possible, for example, a 5% increase in visitors. Where they are not able to be quantified, these should be described in qualitative terms. For example, if the benefits are qualitative, make them clear. For example, we will be able to receive high-quality touring exhibitions from institutions such as the Art Gallery of New South Wales when we have upgraded our gallery lighting and temperature control. The public will therefore be exposed to nationally significant pieces that we cannot show without the upgrade. This section is an opportunity to highlight the social and economic impacts of the project and how these align with RCF objectives. Finally, stakeholder and community support. Now, this section is fairly self-explanatory. However, it's important not to be complacent here. You will need to demonstrate broad support for your proposal and show how you will actively manage potential issues arising with stakeholders. A reminder that all criteria is weighted equally. If you don't apply the same detailed other criterion, your score may drop. Think outside the box. Community support doesn't just mean letters of support. It could be petitions, newspaper articles, reviews, surveys, feedback forms. And don't forget to include a communication plan, such as this example now on screen. Sally's now going to take you through some of the budgets.
Hi, it's Sally here. We're now going to take a break from the business case template and skip out and into your Smarty Grants application form to look at the budget tables in the form. We are doing this because the Smarty Grants application budget is the one that the panel will assess the application on, and we recommend working on your budget here before migrating the budget lines across into your business case. The figures you enter here must match those that you put in your business case. The budget in the Smarty Grants application form is in section 7 and 8 of the form. If you want to look at the budget pages in your own Smarty Grants application form, hit pause now and open it up. The tables you can see pictured on the screen are the 4 tables that you must populate. These are capital income, capital expenditure, ongoing operational income, and ongoing operational expenditure. Budget capital income. A few things to note about the budgets in general is that the budget tables automatically calculate. If your budgets don't balance, the Smarty Grants form will not let you progress with your application. This budget is where you must demonstrate to the assessors that your project is resourced during the project phase and beyond the project phase. There are some hints on the Smarty Grants budget pages themselves about how to enter your information. We'll now step you through each budget table. A reminder once again, any figures you enter here must correlate to figures that you present in your business case. The first budget table you'll come to in Smarty Grants is the capital income table. This is where you show the money you are gathering together to spend on the project. Remember to add the amount that you are requesting in this grant application at the line item called Regional Cultural Fund, this grant. You will need to demonstrate that you are maximising other co-contribution opportunities, such as local government, the Australian government, and other industry contributions or partnerships. Contributions can be in cash or in kind. We recommend taking a look at the Regional Cultural Guidelines for further information on this. The next table you will come to is the Capital Expenditure table, where you show the panel what you are spending the income on. A few things to note. In this section, you should detail line items of the entire project as clearly as possible. Avoid rolling multiple items up into one line, as it makes it difficult for the assessment panel to understand what you're spending the money on. You can add rows at the bottom of this table if more are needed by clicking on the plus button to the right-hand side. You must in here reflect both cash and in-kind items if they have already been reflected in your income table above in the Smarty Grants form. The total of this budget must match the total that you will indicate in section 3.5 of your business case, which is called projected costs. A few things to consider. Developing a realistic project budget assists assessors to understand how you would monitor and control costs, ensuring the project finishes within budget. This needs to include the project contingency. Contingency is the estimated cost for the unknown work, such as activities taking longer than planned, unforeseen issues, price rises in materials, etc. The contingency that you put into your budget is based on the size and scale of your project. Another mandatory inclusion in the project budget is project management associated costs. All projects must have a nominated manager who is assigned responsibility to ensure the project's outcomes are achieved. The cost of the project manager's time must be shown in the budget. Where the project manager is working on a pro bono basis, in-kind contribution, then record this in the description and show the cost as zero. Also, please note that at least one quote must be provided for all major cost items. All quotes must contain the supplier's business details, including address. Okay, we're now moving into the budget section in Smarty Grants that addresses ongoing operational costs for when your project's complete. This section is where you must demonstrate that your project is viable into the future, i.e., that is that you've funded and resourced it appropriately. These tables should demonstrate the estimated annual cost of ongoing operation of your facility or project. This may include resourcing, staff, operational budgets, maintenance and utilities, for example. Note, the Regional Cultural Fund does not fund ongoing costs. Refer to the guidelines for more information. Operational income, which is the table you can see on your screen. Operational income may include your organisation's annual budget allocation for staff, programming, maintenance, income from venue hire, revenue from sales and increases to income in later years as the result of the project, as well as your organisation's in-kind support. The budget you can see on screen now is ongoing operational expenditure. The same goes for operational expenditure as did for income. You must demonstrate that the project can be resourced into the future. Here is where you list your annual outgoings such as rent, repairs, maintenance, services, fees, management, staffing costs and programming costs. And one last suggestion before we head back into the business case template and out of the Smarty Grants form is try to add as much detail as possible in Smarty Grants so the assessors can get a sense of how the facility will operate into the future. We're now going back to the business case template to talk about section 3, analysis of the proposal. So you might want to open that section in the template and pause the video if you need a moment. I'll be handing back to Tracy who will take you through that.
So, analysis of the proposal. So we've just covered the budget tables and Smarty Grants, and we did this first because the figures you entered there are the ones the panel uses to compare projects. However, back in the business case, you are required to present the same figures but in a way that should demonstrate value for money, and that's what Section 3 is all about. In this first part, 3.1, applicants need to identify the key issues in the current situation, establishing a problem you're trying to fix. And the table on your screen is from the business case template. The first column identifies the issues, and the next column on the table or template should list objectives or desired changes to be brought about by a project. So we've got an example up there on the table now for you to look at. And these should be linked to the issues you're addressing from the first column. Lastly, applicants should define the success indicators or measures used to track whether the outcomes were achieved and to what degree. An example could be, you are a museum with no storage space and not enough floor space to display your objects. So your objective is to store your collection securely and provide greater access to the collection to your community. Your success indicator will be improved collection storage and conservation values, more scheduled exhibitions with a greater number of objects on display, leading to increased attendance and repeat visitation. So to help you develop your success indicators, we're going to take you through a methodology called SMART. Ensuring your objectives are SMART will help you cover off on all the relevant points. S is for specific. Don't be vague or simplistic. M is for measurable. Ensure your objectives are tied to measurable criteria. For example, the project goal may be to build an extension to the art gallery. The measurable success could be that X people attended, Y artists were involved, and Z revenue from sales increased. A is for achievable. Set realistic expectations. For example, try to avoid overly optimistic estimation of revenue in sales. R is for relevant. Objectives must be relevant to the RCF strategy. A reminder, if you haven't watched the first video focusing on Regional Cultural Fund general information, we suggest you do that to learn more about the RCF objectives. The next section on strategic alignment will look at this in depth, but the goal statement is an opportunity to remind the reader why the RCF should invest in your project. T is for time-bound. Give a clear understanding of when the objective will be realistically achieved. Make sure you allow for time constraints such as end of financial year and holiday periods. And a reminder, ensure you allow extra contingency for unseen events. So in section 3.2, you should describe the base case or the do-nothing case. This will be the baseline for assessing the merits of your project against alternatives. In section 3.3, you need to describe alternative ways of achieving the same objectives. For example, alternative locations, higher, lower quality options, or different timeframes. The purpose of this section is to assure assessors that your project is the best way to achieve your objectives and you've thoroughly considered all options. In section 3.4, information about the proposal, you must describe exactly what is in the project scope and what is out. The response here should define all the work that needs to be completed to achieve the project objectives, identify any exclusions, so what is out of the project scope, and highlight any related projects or works. Hint, address this in the risk analysis. For example, the description of the works proposed should include a location, quantifiable details including the area, length or capacity, for example, relevant design standards, property purchases required, and any major adjustments to existing infrastructure. So we're heading back to the land of numbers and talking about projected costs for the business case. So the budgets you entered in Smarty Grants can be entered here. Your business case figures must match your figures in Smarty Grants. You can't say this enough. So in this section, objectives and indicators, you should put the total cost of your project and outline how you arrived at these costs. It should be clear what activities the costs estimate includes, how it's derived, and appropriate contingencies should be included. Remember, the tips we gave you during the Smarty Grant section of this video, they apply here too. In section 3.5, it also requires applicants to demonstrate how your operation will be viable in the future. You will need to list all costs needed to operate the facility or the project in the future and estimate the annual cost to your organisation. Ensure this includes maintenance costs needed to ensure the project deliverables will be kept in working condition and fit for purpose in the coming years. All ongoing costs must be met by your organisation either from your own sources or from funding sources other than the RCF. Predicting a future cost requires some assumptions to be made. Now ensure that all assumptions are clearly explained to provide the assessment panel with a clear understanding of any assumptions underlying the project figures. Please ensure you include any revenue increases you might expect as a result of delivering the project, and refer to the Regional Growth Fund Business Case Guidelines on page 12 for further detail on this section. So cost-benefit analysis, section 3.6, seeks to assess the economic, social and environmental benefits and costs over the lifetime of a proposal. Applicants will need to identify all benefits of the proposal and alternative options. There are two key elements to the cost-benefit analysis: identifying benefits and the costs, so listing them, and the benefit-cost ratio, or BCR, which is quantifying the costs, putting dollar value, and working out the net present value for your project. Most applicants will only have to complete the first element, which is identifying the benefits of your project and listing them out. And there is a great example of this in the sample business case. Now, for projects over $5 million estimated total cost, you must ensure your CBA is compliant with the New South Wales Treasury Guidelines, which requires calculating your project's benefit-cost ratio. For most projects, this is a relatively simple section to complete and is a real opportunity to show off the broad benefits of your project. If you are not required to complete a BCR, then your benefits do not need to have a dollar value assigned to them. However, it is a great way of demonstrating benefits, so include it if you can. And to reiterate, a BCR is only required for projects over $5 million and will need to be completed by the applicant. So section 3.7 is a financial appraisal. This section requires applicants to evaluate the budget impact of options from the applicant's perspective. Applicants should provide costs from the start of the proposal, planning, through to the steady state. As a general guide, 5 to 10 years should be sufficient. And this section's focus is on whether the projected revenues will cover the whole of life cost of the proposal. This section essentially provides a rationale for the ongoing cost estimates provided in the budget. Note that ongoing costs are not covered by RCF funding, and the applicant organisation is responsible for covering all ongoing costs. Section 3.8 is proposed funding arrangements. In this section, applicants are required to outline how they will fund the proposal, including how much funding they are requesting from the New South Wales Government. Applicants must demonstrate that all opportunities for co-funding have been maximised. When co-funding sources are identified, we recommend that applicants demonstrate whether these funding sources are confirmed and provide evidence, for example, a letter of support or a memorandum of understanding. You should check this section to make sure that what you are asking the RCF for funding is eligible for funding. Check the guidelines on our website. Now, the last section for section 3 is financial health and support. The focus of section 3.9 is whether the projected revenues will cover the whole of life costs of the proposal. Applicants are requested to outline over the past 2 financial years, and for each party, their financial performance, their financial position, and their cash flow, and the underlying financial statements should also be provided. Recognising that there will be instances where this information will be commercial in confidence, applicants may elect to present this information as an attachment separate to the business case. In these instances, applicants should contact the department to discuss appropriate confidentiality and probity arrangements. So we're nearly there, and I'll pass you back to Sally for section 4.
Section 4, the implementation case. Finally, we're going to look at Section 4. Applicants must demonstrate here that they have the capacity, capability and experience to deliver their proposals through robust controls. Firstly, we'll take a look at program and milestones. In this section, you will outline the key events and decision points associated with your proposal. The milestone, sequencing and estimated duration are critical to demonstrating that you've thought through every step and activity required to deliver your project. The milestone table should be a realistic work schedule that will be used to manage progress so that the project finishes on time and within budget. It would be preferable to include costs of the milestones in the table, so feel free to add another column here. The estimated costs should correspond to the timing of costs in your budget. Ensure these milestones are accurate as possible, as these may be used to govern payments received if you've been successful. The implementation case. Moving along to governance. It's important to be clear about everyone's roles and to back that up with evidence that the team is capable. The governance arrangements should address who owns the proposal, who is responsible for the proposal outcomes, Who is responsible for approving key decisions? Who will manage the proposal? How will it be resourced? And who is responsible for monitoring the costs, benefits and risks? Applicants should demonstrate that the nominated personnel have the relevant experience and skills to deliver and manage the proposal. For projects over $1 million or particularly complex projects, successful projects will need to include a regional cultural fund representative in the governance structure. Section 4.3, Key Risks. Risk is possible for all projects, no matter what size, and it's important for the assessors to know you understand the project and the risks associated with it. You should demonstrate a rigorous risk assessment here has been undertaken that identifies the range of risks relevant to each of the options, the chance of these risks occurring, and the impacts of these risks and potential mitigation strategies. The identification of risks may be undertaken as a desktop exercise for a relatively straightforward proposal. For a more complex proposal, key risks may need to be determined through workshops and stakeholder interviews. In this business case, you will find a table which will assist you in laying the risks out clearly. 4.4, Legislative, Regulatory and Approvals. At section 4.4, applicants should identify any relevant legislative or regulatory issues or approvals that may impact on their project and demonstrate that they understand this framework. Risk management. We're just about at the end of the business case template, so thanks for staying with us. At section 4.5.1, applicants will need to provide a risk management plan to support their application. The plan should outline the following: the identification of risks, the assessment of risk exposure based on the consequence and likelihood of occurrence, the monitoring and management of risks, the mitigation of risks, the process involved to review the risk register and plan, and a risk reporting process. And finally, section 4.5.2 looks at how the asset will be cared for in the long term. This is something not to be flippant with. Really take a good look at the details. You must outline who has the responsibility for the ownership, operation and maintenance of the assets that will be created by the project, and a brief description of the activities to manage these assets over their life. This section should also describe if the project has any impact on existing assets. Okay, so where are we now? Before Tracy and I wrap up, a reminder of the Regional Cultural Fund timeline. Applications opened on Sunday the 1st of July 2018. Applications will close at 12 p.m, noon, on Monday the 21st of September 2018. After the round closes, all of the applications will be collated by staff. Then, an independent panel of industry peers will assess the applications. Announcements are expected to be made in late 2018. That brings our overview of the Regional Cultural Fund business case to an end. However, you can always access support through our other resources, including teleconferences, which begin in late July. Check our website for times, dates and registration. Email updates, which you can sign up for on our website, or you can phone or email us on the contact details that follow. Thanks for joining this video today from Tracy and I, and we wish you luck with your application to the Regional Cultural Fund.